Holly, I just do a little voice of God. I'll let you do your thing and you tell me. Good evening and welcome to the April 4th, 2023 Zoning Committee Work Session. I'm Philip Gussman, Chair of the Zoning Committee. This meeting is being streamed online on YouTube in accordance with the meeting statutes. Requirements for notice, access, and minutes are being met through electronic means. We ask that everyone keep their mics muted when not speaking. Please state your name when making a motion or a second. The public hearing on the rezoning cases that we are reviewing today have been held by the City Council and Zoning Committee 2 weeks ago. This meeting is not a continuation of the public hearing, so there will be no public input unless the committee has specific questions. And we make a motion requesting an answer to those questions. Let's jump in with introductions. Let's go this way first, and maybe Melissa will be here.
Courtney Rhodes, Zoning Committee.
Laura Russell, Zoning Committee.
Douglas Walton, Zoning Committee.
Terry Lansdale, Zoning Committee.
And staff in the room. Well, Dave, you want to kick this off?
Yeah, Dave Pettin, Rezoning Manager, excuse me.
Mike Russell, rezoning staff.
Thanks, Oliver, rezoning staff.
John Kinley, Rezoning staff.
Joe Mangum, rezoning staff.
Holly Kramer, rezoning staff. Anna Aliati, rezoning staff.
Emma Canara House, rezoning staff.
And anyone online?
Carpenter, CDOT.
Isaiah Washington, CDOT.
Patrick Monroe, CDOT.
Travis Miller, CDOT.
Laura Harmon, planning staff.
I think that's everyone online. Excellent. And first off, Dave, you got any deferrals for us?
Yeah, we've got five deferrals, I think. First four are listed in the agenda as being requesting deferral. Item number 1, 2021-209 by Coastal Acquisition Entity. Item number 2, 2021-213 by Goldberg Companies, Inc. Number 3, 2022-133 by Paramount Development, LLC. Number 4, 2022-140 by the F.A. Bartlett Tree Expert Company. And then number 7, which is not shown as a deferral but requested one after the agenda was published, is 2022-084 by Mission Properties, are requesting a 1-month deferral to our May 2nd, 2023 meeting.
Was there an item number for that last one, or was it?
As item 7.
Item 7, thank you.
So we've got 1 through 4 and then item 7.
This is Commissioner Walton. I'll make a motion that we accept the deferrals as listed by Dave.
Lansdale, second.
All in favor of deferring the items as listed by Dave, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That carries. Excellent. So they are deferred. And we'll move on to item number 5 then. And that is rezoning petition number 2021-198 by Ness Home Communities, LLC. And John.
Okay. It's 1.82 acres on the west side of Providence Road, south of Fairview Road, and north of East Barden Road, across from Shalom Park. See that on the map there? The current zoning is R3, single family residential. The proposed zoning is UR2 CD, urban residential conditional. The 2040 policy map recommends neighborhood 1 for the site. The plan would allow up to 17 single-family attached townhome dwelling units, maximum of 6 per building. They provide architectural standards, and the units along Providence Road would have usable porch that fronts and forms the prominent feature of the front along Providence. The access is via a right-in, right-out driveway on Providence Road, via internal alley that serves the units, and installs a 12-foot multi-use path and 8-foot planting strip along Providence, and limits freestanding lighting to 21 feet in height. I know there's been some questions about parking. So it looks like on the plan, each unit has a 2-car garage and 2 bays of parking in the pad. And then there's also been questions about stormwater. If you go to the next slide. They have added a couple notes related to that. So they are committing to providing 2 and 10-year peak stormwater control as related to all proposed impervious on the site. If you all may remember, during the public hearing, there was another petition that had a similar note that they had committed to because basically the stormwater ordinance is such that you only have to, under the minimum standards of the stormwater ordinance, you only have to control the stormwater for any additional impervious that you create. So like the existing house and the existing driveway they wouldn't have to, basically they get credit for that. What they're committing to with this note is to basically they're going to control all the stormwater regardless of whether it's existing or new. So they would be controlling all the stormwater on the site and then committing to analyze the adequacy of the existing stormwater conveyances on adjoining parcels. So in other words, the stormwater flow across those adjacent parcels that we saw during the meeting, and then working with during permitting with stormwater staff to determine if there's any mitigations that could be done with those stormwater drainages. I also know that the petitioner has gone out and met with some of the community members and walked around the site. I don't really know all the details of everything that was found on that. So, and I don't know if they're going to commit to any additional changes to the plan as a result of that. But I do know that they've gone out and started to have those discussions as a result of some of the comments that were made during the public hearing. Next slide. Staff recommends approval of the petition upon the resolution of the issue related to transportation. That's been resolved. We just didn't get a chance to update the agenda and the analysis to reflect that, but the outstanding issues have been resolved. It is inconsistent with the 2040 policy map recommendation for neighborhood 1 place type. It's a proposal for an infill parcel that fronts on Providence Road, which is a major thoroughfare. And there's some other similar situated parcels and size parcels along Providence. Some of them just to the north, not too far to the north, that have been rezoned to UR2 CD as well to allow similar townhome developments. The site and proposed N2 place type provides a transition from the institutional use to the north and east and to the single family to the south and west. And the previous rezoning from 2007, which was indefinitely deferred due to concerns from NCDOT and Temple Israel and the Jewish Center regarding the proposed location of the driveway at the traffic signal. Basically, this rezoning would resolve that because it would move the driveway to the north away from that intersection. There's a bus service and bus stop at Route 14 adjacent to the site along Providence Road. It installs 12-foot multi-use path along Providence, limits the building height to 40 feet, which is the same as single-family zoning. And the plan provides 10-foot wide buffer around the perimeter of the site, providing screening between the development and the neighboring uses. It would change the recommended place site from neighborhood 1 to neighborhood 2, and I'll take any questions.
All right, thank you. I will note that Melissa Gaston, Commissioner Gaston has joined us. So we are back up to 7 strong. Questions? Start on this end.
All right, John, just a quick question about, I want to dig deeper into the stormwater. So they are proposing, based on, looks like the site plan, some underground stormwater storage, but where's the outfall? Is that going to come out on the neighboring properties, or is that going to hit a stormwater sewer somewhere?
I think that was one of the things that they looked at when they had their site visit. There is some existing stormwater pipes, I think, along Providence Road. I'm not sure what's internal to like the neighborhood back behind there. But the petitioner or agent, or maybe even one of the community members, the president might be able to answer that question as to where it is currently. And the petitioner would need to answer how they would connect to it, because I'm not sure off the top of my head. But it would basically be, regardless of whether it's underground or above ground, the outfall would be, I think, to the south rather than north. Everything kind of going to the north is a little more uphill. So.
Right, that's what I was concerned about, is because we know the topography of the site, kind of the crown of that site is right between the two buildings that face each other. And then you get a steep drop off in the proposed tree save, which is gonna sheet a lot of water into those neighboring houses. Actually, was that the one that had the video?
Yeah, it was
Basement?
to the, basically the south right there, yep.
Okay. So yeah, that's something I think we need to understand is, are we tying to an existing system or are we just gonna have a daylight to the properties behind it?
Yeah, I don't have the answer off the top of my, at the ready for that. So if the petitioner agent is here, they could answer that.
Motion to suspend?
I was like, let's put together if we want one. Is there any other questions that maybe we want to get out there before we suspend rules? I think that's the bulk. Does anyone else have something to add? All right. I'm open to a motion to suspend if we want. Is the petitioner in the room?
Do not see them in the room. I don't know if they were online. No, it'd be Michael Ambrosio or, yeah, it'd be him.
Okay, so we do have them online? All right. We need to make motion first?
Motion to suspend the rules, will allow petitioner to answer questions.
This is Rhodes, second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes. You can get him pulled up? Oh. Excellent, thank you. Do you want to go ahead and craft this first one?
Sure. So what I want to understand is you've got underwater detention storage at the proposed tree save. Are you tying that into the existing stormwater system or is that water just going to daylight out to the properties adjacent to it?
Is there a way you could give access to Dennis Terry to speak? He is more prepared to answer your question. He's also part of the petitioner group for this.
Is Dennis online?
Yes, I see him as an attendee right now.
All right, Dennis, did you hear that question?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I did hear the question. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for allowing me to unmute. The simple answer to your question is the stormwater will daylight on site and it will surface flow into the tree save area and follow the natural drainage pattern of this existing. There is no City of Charlotte stormwater system that's extended to this site, or we could connect to that.
Just one more follow-up question, then I'll turn the floor over. Is the daylight into the proposed tree save, is that because the tree save is the lowest elevation on your site? Like, why would you not try to drain that to a Providence Road?
I'm sorry, there's a little echo here. The natural site falls off to the rear. We don't have enough fall to drain it to Providence Road is the short answer.
Thank you.
Any other outstanding questions for the petitioner?
I would like to address the videos of the stormwater because I heard that was a question.
We can't let it do that.
I would need it to be phrased from my panel, from my dais, so I'm afraid I'll have to let you down there, Dennis. Terry, did you have?
Just a couple more clarifications on transportation. And DOT reaffirmed that they did not want to have the driveway alignment.
Terry.
Oh, sorry.
Hold on one second. If we need to unsuspend, we need to
Sorry.
put our rules back in effect.
My apologies. Sorry. No, questions for the petitioner.
Motion.
Motion to unsuspend, reinstate, whatever.
Thank you. Probably moved. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Good deal. That passes. We're back on and I recognize Terry.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Just a confirmation that DOT still wanted to not have an intersection. Is there any other opportunities to change the status of the alley to a public road design? Would that satisfy it, or is it strictly because of the intersection improvement required?
I'll turn that over to CDOT staff to respond to.
So I just want to make sure I'm understanding your question. Well, the first part, the state is part of the process when we're going through these, so they're still residing in where they were before with not allowing the access across from the intersection. And in general, typically, and we wouldn't either as well. We're on the same page with that, but because the development is along a thoroughfare, typically this is the type of street or arterial that we want traffic to keep moving. And so having less signal having to be there helps with that as well. So it's not so much as the street type as it just is the functionality for the road.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, a quick follow-up on that. On 16 at this point, the speed limit's 45. I think it's transitioned to 45 at Sharon. Is that right? Do we know the speed limit for Providence Road, or it's 16 at that point, Isaiah?
I believe it's 45 at this point.
Okay, these are some of my concerns for the ingress and egress here. A quick question on the site design as well. As we look at Alley B on this document, the one that's on the screen would be in the lower right corner. Just to confirm, there are no sidewalks on the units 7 through 12. Is that correct? Is that what I'm reading here? The only sidewalk on Alley B is on the units between 1 through 6. Is that correct, staff?
That's correct. Yeah, they would, so anyone in units 7 through 12 would cross Alley B to access the sidewalk to go up to Providence.
Final transportation question, just to help me kind of solidify my position on concerns with this particular project, is we don't have any roadway widths for Alley A and Alley B, or can you confirm what those widths are at this point in time, or is it still in design?
There's a detail, it's not shown on the screen clip the way it is, but on the main site plan that we have, there is a detail that shows the alleyway with the dimensions. And it's from the Charlotte Land Development Standards Manual.
Thanks for the confirmation. I appreciate that. That's all my questions.
Douglas.
Thanks, Phil. I would like to give thanks to Doug Losner at Charlotte Stormwater this morning, because I read the stormwater notes and they were a little jargon. And so he helped me find my way back to the world on that. And talking with him, my concern was the amount of stormwater that was there and the incremental increase of stormwater based on this project. And in that conversation, he gave me insight into the two notes that John pointed out. It wasn't perfect, but it was better than what would be required as the base level. And I thought that that was a good faith effort. And I'm sure, I do sense that the petitioner is willing to work and achieve something. To Will's question, where does the water ultimately come out? There's not a good answer at that end, because there's not a place for the water to, a system for it to tie into. I would, again, urge everybody to continue looking for solutions as we go forward. And, maybe somebody has a big pipe that they have laying around somewhere, that sort of thing. And one more question for John. You said this was inconsistent. Is it by form or by policy?
I guess it would be by form and policy, yes.
Because I looked, it was all in one out there, and I thought I saw that there were a maximum of 6 units. And I assumed that was by form and inconsistency, but I'm just asking this question so I can get clear. You guys know. Maybe you don't know.
I'm looking at Dave because
it's both. Okay. Right. That just some clarity on that. And that transportation thing, Terry. Yeah, that. Thanks. That's all.
Anyone else have a question? Concerns?
Mr. Chair, if I may
Go ahead.
follow up, just as a confirmation, because I'm trying to read through the notes here. we go from a 24-foot at the class 3 entrance down to a 16-foot private alley. I mean, do we have designation, and forgive me if I can't find it quickly enough, a designation for the fire apparatus access road? Is that considered, both of these alleys, a fire? Because I haven't been able to see that alley A and alley B will be 20 feet at minimum. I'm seeing 16 feet. So trying to clarify that.
Fire reviewed the plans and they had no comments. So, other than just their typical advisory comments about fire services. So, yeah, they didn't speak to any concerns about the alleys.
Okay, but just to confirm, at this point, the petition is not a fire apparatus access road for the alley. Is that correct?
Where are you seeing that at? I'm
In your
sorry.
detail for the width for the alleys, item number 5, C note 5, and you have it listed as 16 feet wide, so that's 2 8-foot lanes essentially. When we have, yeah, I'm just trying to clarify the reference there. Sorry about that.
Yeah, oh, you're talking, oh, okay, I see what you're talking about from the Land Development Standards Manual. Yeah, I'm going to defer that question to CDOT.
Isaiah?
Are we asking if the alley could support a fire truck?
I'm asking, is it a 16-foot alley or is it a 20-foot alley?
I believe on the plans it shows it to be 16.
Okay, thank you very much.
I think because I think it says pavement, and I'm pretty sure that includes talking with Max, we're pretty sure that includes the valley gutter on either side. So that additional 4 feet would be a total of 20 foot and clear. That would be required for fire.
Thanks.
All right. Yeah, this one's definitely trickier than it first blush. On the stormwater, I mean, this is a very hilly lot. Went and took a look at it. This is going to be a challenge to build anything, especially anything this dense. Is this I don't know. As you were going through the process, was this taken into consideration? I mean, I assume it was. I'm not trying to put anything on you guys that you don't deserve anyway, but.
I guess one thing we looked at this and I referred to it a little bit in the staff analysis, we looked at other developments along Providence Road on small sites that are narrow and kind of just a slightly larger single family parcel that have been redeveloped. And there's a few other examples. Tyne Castle, I think, is the name of one that's up the street to the north. And so that was kind of what we looked at, is there's already some precedent for this type of development on Providence, being a major thoroughfare, to do some townhomes as infill development.
All right, thank you. Challenging one. Commissioners, anything else?
I would just add that, as John noted, there are a number of smaller developments going up and down Providence Road. And I guess, our part of the general thing behind what we do here is to put the car drivers where they can best be served by a road. Now, one could argue a long time about whether or not Providence Road is a good road, but that's another story. And going up and down Providence this morning, I did note the number of small developments and actually large developments at the intersection of Fairview and Providence. So.
Very well. Any motions? We have 3 options as usual.
Yeah, I will go for it. I don't know where everybody else will go, but hey, we'll see. Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2021-198 as it appears before us and adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before us.
Any seconds? Harvey. Properly moved by Walton, seconded by Harvey. All in favor, raise your hand, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes 4-3. I would advise the petitioner to listen very closely to this next statement that our commissioners are going to add. Who would like to take the driver's seat?
You want to start? You want to start?
Okay.
Everyone wants Terry to start.
Okay, that's fine. I appreciate that. Thank you. I expressed my concern with this due to the concerns over the transition from the Class 3 driveway to the 16-foot alley designation, as well as the inconsistent sidewalk access on all parcels for this facility.
I would agree with that and just add that I do have some concerns about the stormwater and how it affects the surrounding parcels considering the grades.
Anything else?
To add to that, I have concerns that I don't think there has been much communication with the community, particularly around the stormwater. There needs to be some more communication as to how this is all going to play out with them. I just don't think that there's enough. I'm not saying that it hasn't been done, but I feel like there needs to be a little more footwork within the community to receive the buy-in and get them to understand the stormwater. That is an important aspect of their neighborhood right now.
Absolutely. Dave, we got all that? John? All right. All right. We knew that first one was going to be a little bit, so thank you, everyone. Moving on to rezoning, item number 6, rezoning petition 2022-070 by Carter Acquisitions. And I was not ready to say, Michael, hit it.
Yes, thank you. This is approximately 31.41 acres located on the west side of Old Statesville Road, south of Vance Davis Drive and north of Reams Road. The current zoning is BP Business Park. The proposed zoning is MUD OCD. Next slide. So the 2040 policy map recommends community activity center for this site. This proposal, it allows up to 30 single-family attached townhome style units and 360 multifamily apartment units, a maximum of 25,200 square feet of non-residential uses, and a maximum of 20,000 square feet of office uses. They are requesting an optional provision related to the north side of the proposed public road Liberty Crossings Drive extension to allow vehicular parking and circulation between the public right-of-way and proposed buildings. They are providing a 12-foot multi-use path and an 8-foot planting strip along Old Statesville Road. They've gone through a TIS and they're constructing a number of transportation improvements as a result of the traffic impact analysis, including signal phasing and turn lane modifications, new traffic signal, and new turn lanes. They do commit to providing Mecklenburg County Parks and Rec a 35-foot wide easement for the construction and maintenance of a county greenway. Walkways will be provided to connect all residential entrances to sidewalks along public streets. And they are committing to a 15,000 square foot amenity area on the site, which can have community clubhouse, community pool, pocket park, hardscape patio areas, grills, fire pit, and the like. And they do commit to architectural standards, including building materials. There have been no real changes since the public hearing. All the outstanding issues have been addressed, and staff does recommend approval. Any questions?
Question, Terry.
One question, one comment. Appreciate the petitioner designing in a 30-foot private street on the connection between Independence and Liberty Crossing. But my question and concerns are with the on-street parkings. Just to be clear, can staff maybe talk to me just to confirm that we have a 90-degree parking on the private street? And then we have on-street parallel parking on Liberty Crossing. Is that what I'm seeing on this particular parcel?
Yes, there's parking, on-street parking on Liberty Crossing Drive extension.
And then on the private street, that is a 90-degree parking that we're allowing?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned about those types of designs on this particular parcel. Thank you.
Any other questions? Go right ahead.
So if I'm looking at the site plan correctly, there's gated access on at least 2 of the entrances, but nowhere else. Do we know what the reason behind that is? I'm just curious.
No, you can ask the petitioner if you would like.
Motion to suspend.
Rhodes, second.
All in favor? Motion is to suspend the rules to ask petitioner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Petitioner in the room?
Nolan Gross, Urban Design Partners, representing the petitioner.
Go right ahead. Or, pardon me, Will? You'd ask the question.
Talk to me about the gates, because you've got at least 4 access points on both sides, but only 2 gates. So help me understand what the gates are for and why.
Yes, sir.
So the gated access points are for the multifamily development. This is a mixed-use site, so where you're seeing no gates along the frontage is for commercial property. And I'll point that out on the screen if you prefer, if that's easier.
Yeah, okay, so the top side does have a gate coming in here.
Yes, sir. So that's multifamily residential, and this through here is commercial.
Answers my question. That was simple.
Yeah, that was simple. Thank you. That was actually far more helpful than I thank you. Appreciate that. Any other questions? Hardin, did you? All right. Anyone else? All right.
Motion to reinstate.
Go right ahead. Oh, yes. All in favor, say aye. Moved by Harvey, seconded by Walden. All right. We're back. Any other questions for staff? All right. Anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Right ahead.
Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2022-070 as it appears before us, and the adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before us.
Harvey, second.
Properly moved by Rhodes and seconded by Harvey. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are 5 and 2 against. Want to go in the same order as last time?
Yes, please.
Terry.
I'm going to express my opposition due to the parking design as this petition has created. I disagree and do not support 90-degree parking on the private street design, and I'm not in support of on-street parking with such an increase with population and traffic flow on Liberty Crossing. So due to the parking concerns on Liberty and the private drive, I am not in support of this petition. Thank you.
I will just add, and this is more personal than I can't complain about parking for this part of the zone, but I don't know that it necessarily fits into the surrounding area, bringing in office, bringing in residential, but to an area that doesn't have any. And so the form and function for which the mixed use is being proposed, I don't think fits with setback in the developed area.
All right. Thank you. Michael, you good? Excellent. Thank you. Moving on to item number 7, rezoning petition 2020. Oh, thank you. It is deferred. You're absolutely correct. Moving on to item number 8, rezoning petition 2022-091 by Tim Pratt and Copper Builders LLC. Holly.
Thank you. This site is a little over 1.5 acres, located on the south side of Linwood Drive, west of Sterling Road, and north of Ridgewood Avenue in the Myers Park neighborhood. There's a lot of mixed residential development in this neighborhood. It's actually really nice. I don't know if you've had a chance to look around, but the current zoning is R17 multifamily, and the proposed zoning is to go to UR2 conditional. It is consistent with the 2040 policy map recommendation for neighborhood 2. That neighborhood 2 designation is reflective of the current zoning as well as the current development on the site. The proposal itself is to allow up for 21 townhome units on the site. That limits the base unit height to 40 feet and up to 45 feet as allowable in the ordinance, but the base height at 40 feet. Commits to 400 square feet of private open space for each unit, provides a 2-car garage in each unit, and that is in addition to the 8 reverse angle parking spaces along Linwood Drive. That was coordinated with CDOT. There's access to the site via 2 ingress-egress driveways off Linwood Drive and individual unit access in the interior site from private alleys. Along Linwood Drive, again, the 8 reverse angle parking spaces, sorry. There's an 8-foot sidewalk and 8-foot planting strip along the site's frontage. And along all shared property boundaries, there will be a 6-foot fence and evergreen landscape screening within those side and rear yards. The lighting fixtures will be full cutoff and downwardly directed up to 20 feet. Commits to a number of architectural details and dedicates a minimum of 15% of the site to tree save. It also adds a couple of conditional notes on the plan related to the protection of the existing trees on the site that go above and beyond typically what we see in rezonings. Since the public hearing, they have addressed all technical revisions, addressed the outstanding issue to label and add dimensions to the curb and gutter from the center line, and it added additional details to those notes regarding when the arborist plan would be done and those specific notes as it related to best management practices with the tree canopy, and that was done in coordination with some urban forestry comments. And also, sorry, no, you're good. You're good. I was just going to make a note that they're also going to be slightly revising one of the stormwater notes. So currently it has that it would have up to 2 and 10 would have 2 and 10-year peak controls for the site as it relates to all impervious surface. And that's essentially to say that they're considering the site as in a natural undeveloped condition. So any and all impervious surface on the site will be under that 2 and 10-year peak control rather than just the additional impervious surface that is being added through this rezoning request. Staff recommends approval of this petition. Like I said, it is consistent with the policy map recommendation. They addressed a lot of the concerns that we initially had. They did hold 2 community meetings, which was good to see, and there was a significant community engagement. I know that I've continued that engagement throughout the process and continue to hear from the opposition speaker that you all probably saw at the public hearing. So there's certainly been a lot of dialogue, I would say, with this rezoning, which has been nice, but we've gotten it to a point that staff is comfortable and recommends approval. Be happy to take any questions.
Excellent. Thank you. And we have at least 3 queued up. We'll start. Derek, we'll go right to left. Terry, Douglas, Will.
I'm sorry for the broken record today, but it was a pattern that I'm seeing. So again, I see a 2-way private alley with a curb and gutter on either side with an 18-foot dimension from the other side, from the outside of the curb and gutters from this depiction. When we look at a personal, for a politicized term, an Obama truck, you got them at 8.5 feet wide. That leaves very little room for a two-way travel on the private alley. So again, my concerns are with how people get around this parcel. We have a Class 2 driveway that starts at a much wider area and goes and then funnels down to a smaller area with a greater than 90 degree, sorry, wait a minute, yeah, a less than 90 degree turn and then a 90-degree turn in and out of the site. So I just got some, again, these private drives are an issue for many of the petitions tonight. Thank you.
I would just, the one thing that confused me was the reverse angle parking, and it says something about CDOT requiring that, or what was the
Required CDOT signage.
signage? Okay, all right, yeah, because would that be required there? But I thought each one of these had two parking spaces. So is the additional? parking
No,
required?
so this is far exceeding the parking requirements of UR2, if that's your question.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I was like, I'd rather
Yeah,
not
they
have.
wanted to maintain, so there's currently 19 parking spaces along Glenwood Drive.
Yeah,
A lot of the major community concern is the loss of that on-street parking, so they're
Okay.
trying to maintain what they can.
Okay.
So it is going from 19 to 8, but you're gonna have 8 spaces in addition to the 2-car garages. So yeah, again, that goes far beyond the UR2
Okay.
ordinance requirements.
all right, I'm cool.
This question, Holly, you mentioned something at the end about stormwater and I didn't quite follow, so I just wanted you to repeat that.
Yeah, it's probably because I didn't say it very well, to be honest. Oh.
Make sure
Yeah, so essentially I'll read off the note how it may sound in a revision coming this week. The site will provide 2 and 10-year peak control as related to all proposed impervious surface on the site to limit runoff to peak levels no greater than would occur from the site if left in a natural undeveloped condition.
Development is gonna have no more runoff. That's not the way.
If it were left, if it weren't developed at all.
Yeah. So
It's recognizing there's significant stormwater concerns. So typically you would only have to account for the impervious surface you're adding. So they're accounting for any and all development on the site. It's as if you assume that this is development on a completely undeveloped tract.
instead of just.
The volume that will be detained is
instead
much
of
greater.
just the added part, but the notes from stormwater note that they'd like to see this in 25 years. You said
There, it's at 2 and 10 right now.
2 and 10. So, yes, thank you. That's where I was. Yeah, so, I mean, and I think that the stormwater, I got.
Correct me if I'm wrong, those of you who spent more time, or if stormwater's still on, they're not, okay, of course not.
Yeah, they don't like us.
Understood. Thank you. Then.
Let's talk about them.
I won't expound too much on this then. This sounds like an outcome that in many of these cases where we know we're being pushed on stormwater and it looks like it's a challenging site, if other petitions had met this, this could have been very helpful. Yes, I mean, this strikes me as.
Yes, I mean, to be honest, if it were developed by right as under R17F, I mean, it doesn't have a conditional plan associated with right now. It could go R17MF or into B. Yeah, we're getting more.
They could take
than
4
we-
units off and dump water everywhere.
Sure.
I mean.
We're getting more than we
Right.
do on other petitions. Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions? Sorry. Go right ahead, Rose.
Yeah, I had a quick question about the maximum of the townhomes. I know that there was opposition about the amount being 21. And then you indicated that they've had some conversations with the community, some community engagement behind it. Is there any, is the petitioner looking to reduce the amount of townhomes, or have they come to some compromise with the neighborhood?
So I think the initial plan was technically for 22 townhomes, so it has technically been reduced by one
Okay,
unit.
okay.
Just putting it out there. But in terms of will they continue to reduce the number of units, that's not something I've heard that they will move on.
Okay,
Frankly, a lot of the community conversation was more focused on stormwater and parking.
okay,
And those tended to be the conversations that came up over and over again for me.
gotcha. Okay,
But if I'm right, it's R17 MF, and it's an acre and a half. If my maths are correct,
You're close to
Your math?
it would be 20 something plus, right? 25-ish.
Right.
So, I mean, by right, still hanging out there.
All right. Anyone else? Motion?
Commissioner Walton.
Welton, go right in.
Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2022-091 as it appears before us and adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before us.
Rhodes, second.
Thank you. Properly moved and seconded. Moved by moved by Welton, seconded by Rhodes. All in favor, say aye. Aye. And opposed? We are 5-2 on that one as well. Terry, I'll let you go ahead. I'm presuming.
Yes, again, I'm concerned with the details regarding the private street typical section design of less than 20 feet. And that's my main concern for this parcel. Again, the private road design. Thank you.
Anything to add, Russell?
Yes,
Additionals?
secondary comments, while understanding that we are getting improvement in stormwater, I think that we're adding way more impervious surface to this site than what was previously on it. So by nature, it's a downgrade. While I do like some of those.
Got that, Holly? Thank you very much. I'm moving on to item number 9, rezoning petition 2022-123 by Mungo Homes. Always fun to say. Michael, go ahead.
Our threshold of fun is so low.
Yes, thank you. This is Mungo Homes and is approximately 38.18 acres located on the southwest side of Gibbon Road, east of Statesville Road and south of Old Statesville Road. The current zoning is R3, single-family residential. The proposed zoning is R8 MFCD, multifamily residential conditional. The 2040 policy map recommends the neighborhood 1 for this area. Next slide. So this proposal would allow up to 287 single-family attached dwelling units. Access to the site will be from Gibbon Road, Oak Drive, and Easy Street. They will upgrade the existing Easy Street to meet the land development standard U-02. They're dedicating 41 feet of right-of-way from the center line of Gibbon Road. They are providing a 12-foot multi-use path and an 8-foot planting strip along Gibbon Road, as well as an 8-foot planting strip and 6-foot sidewalk on the internal private street network. They're providing a 50-foot Class C buffer between the site and adjacent single-family neighborhood. They will dedicate and convey a minimum of 60-foot easement along and adjacent to the Duke Power easement to the Mecklenburg County for the future Seam Trail. Detached lighting on the site will be limited to 21 feet in height, and they do provide architectural standards, including building materials. Open space will include, but not limited to, specialty landscaping, pavers, dog park seating, and/or gazebos. No material changes since the public hearing. Staff does recommend approval of this petition. There was one minor note outstanding issue. The petitioner has agreed to correct that. It is inconsistent with the 2040 policy map recommendation for the neighborhood 1 and commercial place types, but staff does recommend. Thank you.
Thank you. And questions? Any? Russell, go right ahead.
Okay, first question, I'm gonna be a broken record as well on the stormwater. So this one says that that we're gonna have to donate stormwater access because there's not any piping available. Do we know how close the stormwater is to this particular rezoning? Or what the closest stormwater is?
Is it a accessible water, by a, well, the water distribution thing, well, given road, does not have sewer system, accessible to the rezoning boundary. That they provide us with that.
Okay.
See how far it is.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was concerned about just trying to understand what the sewer does. And one more question, Mr. Chair. So we're taking this from a neighborhood one place type, which is pretty much predominant in the area, and transitioning this down to, or transitioning up to a neighborhood two, that would, I guess, be consistent with what's on the corner of Old Statesville and Gibbon Road. But it's my understanding that neighborhood two is something that's more akin to streets with higher volumes of traffic. So help me understand, while it's inconsistent, staff is recommending approval. So can you kind of help me understand the rationale for the change in place type and why even though it is inconsistent, you would still recommend approval?
I think, mainly given that section on Old Statesville Road and Gibbon Road was joined, and now the recent rezoning that we had, 2022, 3-4, that was rezoned to neighborhood 2, 32 townhome, 8 multifamily units, and 32 townhomes, which is kind of wedged in between this one, given location on Statesville. Yes, it may not fall into the neighborhood one by form. I think that's surrounding it, single family, that you come up to Old Statesville and Gibbon Road would be a place of good transition to a higher density, and the density is only at part.
Thank you.
Douglas.
Maybe CDOT probably knows this. There's not a traffic signal at Gibbon Road, correct? I was through there the other week and I don't believe there's one there. And is there plans for that in that rezoning that we did? Because I remember the rezoning from last year, but I don't remember if there was a signalization there.
Yeah.
Are you referring to the intersection of Old Statesville?
Old Statesville and Gibbon.
Yeah,
There's
there's
traffic light there? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm misremembering then. Thank you.
Did you say yes? I didn't hear him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Because there was not a traffic study required for this, correct?
That's correct.
Harry, did you have any?
I do. For me, I will challenge on-street parking for private alleys, and I know that there's some bits and pieces here for the private alleys, but hopefully they're going to be to the standards for private alleys of at least 10 feet on either side. But the on-street parking again, I've got again concerns, and it's a pretty complex design here. But those on-street parkings in a curve on a public right of way, that causes me heartburn on a lot of different levels. So again, I just caution how we design these parcels, and take that public right of way for storage of private property. The other piece that I had a question on, and this is just for staff on the design piece, I'm just making sure I read this right. Like, for example, on Road F, which is at the top of the project, I'm just pulling one section out. It appears that the sidewalks are not on the private alleys. They're in between the two residences. Is that right? Just making sure I'm reading your designs correctly, staff. Yeah, and they're not staff designs, just to clarify, we're just reviewing the designer's plans, but it looks like there's sidewalk connections between the units, that are in between, like, for example, unit 252 and 251, there's sidewalk that runs north-south in between that to connect to Road F. So it's not on the alley itself, it's between the units.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
A lot of zooming on this map. It's a big map.
I love the little fonts.
Any other questions for staff?
I just have a quick follow-up since we've talked about on-street parking on public roads quite a bit tonight. Is there an alternative that would be recommended to accommodate parking in these projects? Is it just a standalone parking lot? Is that something that you'd prefer to see versus on-street parking?
I think if you're asking that question specifically, I think on public right of way, I have the most concern with on-street parking on public right of way. The solutions for the on-street parking can come in a variety of different ways, and I'm not really able to kind of designate that, but I think that with these parcels, there are other opportunities to utilize spaces for storage that are not part of the public right of way. That's where I'm coming from. Thanks, David.
Okay.
I see. I do like the connectivity to this plan. First thing I was like, oh, we're finally connecting a lot of roads here. I would do pause at this density kind of again here where we're just now seeing this level of density in housing becoming pretty standard. But those are my comments.
Again, it's right on Old Statesville Road,
Yeah.
which is, big.
Yep. Any other? Hoping to have a 7-person vote here. But we have.
If you'd like, I can go get some tea and then when I get back, we can have a 7-person vote.
We will, we will pause proceedings for just a moment. This was reminiscent, the design on this, a question for staff, the design on this was a little bit reminiscent of our often referred to in our planning, in our cool ideas book, the Hermitage Court style development with a central greenway where there's sidewalks and everything and all of that. Is this another way of achieving that? I don't know, from staff perspective. And I don't know if anyone who's looked at this, mostly Dave, I think I'm talking to, who might have seen those presentations on and what's coming in the UDO.
Yeah, I mean, I think anytime you get those units facing, common green space, it kind of gets you, some elements of cottage court design, but, it's not that to a T by any means, but it's just an alternative to having everything either front a street or, front something else, but it's something we're certainly seeing more frequently when they're, facing common open space in between, so.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, anyone like to make a motion?
This is Commissioner Rhodes. I'll make a motion.
Go right ahead.
Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2022-123 as it appears before us, and the adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before us.
This is Welton, I'll second.
Moved by Rhodes, seconded by Welton. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
We are 6-1. Terry.
Again, I want to express my opposition opinion in that I have concerns over creating new private alleys on this parcel and then directing on-street parking in the public right of way. I'd like to have a better solution for that. Thank you.
Michael, are we good? Excellent. Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 10, rezoning petition 2022-125 by Blue Heel Development. Joe. Over there.
Thank you. This is approximately 7.7 acres located on Tennyson Drive near Interstate 85. The current zoning is R5 and B2. It's within the airport noise overlay. Proposed zoning is UR2 CD, and that airport overlay would continue through. The 2040 policy map recommends neighborhood 1 for the site. And the proposal is for 38 single-family attached residences at a density of 5 dwelling units per acre. Would preserve a sizable portion of the property in the northern half, roughly, of the property that's encumbered by a stream and wetlands as undisturbed. Connect two street stubs with public streets and a third stub with a multi-use path. Also provide an 8-foot planting strip and 6-foot sidewalk along the new street extension with a 10-foot multi-use path on one side of the culvert cross section, street section over the creek. Proposes mostly front-loaded units, commits to enhanced entry doors and stoops and enhanced side elevations for corner in-facing end units facing public streets. Commits to recessing garage doors 12 to 24 inches from the front wall plane. Also preserves, as I mentioned, about 50% of the site is open space, with 10% being usable common open space. Since the public hearing, the petitioner has addressed issues related to land use and transportation. There are no more outstanding issues. While it is inconsistent, the current B1 zoning could be developed with something that it would be more inconsistent than the proposed neighborhood 2 product type, and staff recommends approval. Be happy to take any questions.
Excellent. I think we all agree B2 isn't necessarily the best application for this. At the same time, we'll see.
Big tower.
Douglas, I think you have a question.
Joe, back to my inconsistent question. Consistent on this one, it's an N2 product, basically, in an N1 place. That's the inconsistency.
That's correct for that portion. And
For
then,
that-
of course, the B1 portion would be
Yeah, okay.
right.
All right, thank you.
And it's a matter of form, not even necessarily density, on why it's really an N2 product as opposed to an N1, correct?
Right, with the 2040 map and the UDO, we really get away from the density
Density, absolutely.
and more towards a form.
True. Good point. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions?
A quick one.
Right ahead.
Just as again, I'm trying to understand on the public street for the multi-use path near the tree save. The setback for the sidewalk stops and you have to cross over to the multi-use path. There's nothing there near the tree save area that connects to the public street, or I haven't seen this site to know what's existing on that public street going off. Hang on, almost there. Just was concerned about that, but just a confirmation.
Right, there is no sidewalk on would be the northern side of that creek culvert crossing.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I've got one. I just want to take the opportunity. Can you refresh all of us a little bit on the airport noise overlay impacts? We're in the process of authorizing and clearing the way for a 4th runway. We know that we've got some of the 5th busiest airport in the world. Could you just refresh us on that element? Thank you.
It's effectively just a disclosure to property owners or would-be property owners that they may have noise impacts.
Thank you. Well, it's highlighting that people are notified. Yes, we're increasing residential area in this area, but at the same time, people should be making this decision based on the information they're given. Any other questions?
I'm going to ask another quick follow-up.
Got another one?
Might be for CDOT on this one. So
Sure.
we've got a sidewalk connection to a 10-foot multi-use path, 10-foot multi-use path on a public street. Any conversation on sidewalks or crossings or it's an interesting dog leg on the alley there. So I just was curious, we're gonna allow our pedestrians to take their chances there? Or any suggestions or comments on that from you guys, from CDOT? If not, no worries.
There were no comments on that. It just provides for connectivity. You could place some bollards there to ensure safety for pedestrians, you know, as a multi-use path. It's not just for walkers, but bikers, the like. So it does provide connectivity. It allows for pedestrians to have a direct route to other parts of this neighborhood. But that will be handled during permitting.
Okay, thanks. We'll look for it there.
All right. Any other questions? Looking for a motion then.
This is Lansdale. Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move we recommend the approval of petition number 2022-125 as it appears before us and the adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before us.
Welton, I'll second.
Thank you. Properly moved by Terry. Probably moved by Lansdale, seconded by Welton. All in favor, say aye. Aye. And opposed? That passes 7-0. And just a note, everyone, please be sure to turn on the mic and note where it is. I've heard from a few viewers that we might be having some mic issues. Moving on to item number 11, rezoning petition 2022-134 by Muhsin Mohammed II. And that looks like Joe. Back to you.
Thanks. This is approximately 15 and a half acres located along Steel Creek Road between Interstate 485 and Outlets Boulevard, just south of the Outlet Mall. The current zoning is O2 CD and NS is within the Lower Lake Wiley Protected Area. Proposed zoning is O2 CD site plan amendment and NS site plan amendment, still within that Lower Lake Wiley Protected Area. The 2040 policy map calls for commercial place type. And the proposal will create a new development area there at the top of the site that shift building envelopes around. It would also rezone a small area in the southern corner that from O2 CD to NS. There also would correct an encroachment issue with the public right-of-way in the southern corner of the property and allow one additional accessory drive-through use for a financial or business service. Since the public hearing, the petitioner has addressed issues related to land use and transportation. There are still a few outstanding issues. Revising the site plan to show proposed right-of-way 2 feet at the back of curb along Steel Creek Road. Also adding a conditional note to install curb and gutter along the Steel Creek frontage between Outlets Boulevard and Trojan Drive. And verifying stream buffers as well as tree save area. Understand that the petitioner is working with those respective departments to correct those outstanding issues and would expect a revised plan to be submitted following the zoning committee. Staff, it is consistent with the 2040 policy map recommendation for the commercial place type, and staff does recommend approval upon resolution of those outstanding issues that we mentioned. I'll take any questions.
Excellent. Any questions?
Not so much a question, but
Harvey, go right ahead.
I spoke to the Steel Creek folks down there. They were happy with the changes. They felt that they were engaged properly. And being that a lot of the area, of course, I think is mostly industrial. Yeah, that they support that. So thank you.
Good deal, didn't it? Thank you. And Russell?
Yeah, one question. It says here the closest gravity sewer main is approximately 750 feet south of the rezoning boundary. So how are we closing that gap? Is that still on the property or is that off the property at 750 feet?
So I understand that most of the site is built out. I'm not sure if that comment remains accurate, but the petitioner is here if you'd like to ask that question directly.
Why not? Motion to suspend.
Right, properly moved and seconded. All in favor of suspending the rules to ask the petitioner the question about, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Good deal. Petitioner. Please stand, grab a mic. John, can you give him your mic? Don't mind. State your name and please address the question as Commissioner Russell asked.
Commissioner Russell, this is Jordan Mohammed, and yeah, we've already built out we've worked with new development, and so we've already built all of that out, and at this point, it's all been approved by Charlotte City Water.
Okay, so the 750 foot is resolved.
Yeah, all of that's been resolved at this point.
Thank you.
Perfect. Motion to return, anyone?
Motion first to reinstate.
So,
Properly moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. And we're back. Any other questions? Motions?
Commissioner Rose, I'll make a motion.
Good deal.
Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2022-134 as it appears before us and the adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before us. Gaston, second.
Properly moved by Rhodes, seconded by Gaston. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes 7-0. Moving on to number 12, rezoning petition 2022-137 by the Maintenance Team, Inc. I recall this one. Joe, back to you. Busy tonight for you.
Yeah, they're all lined up in a row, so it's all right. This is approximately 10.26 acres located on Shopton Road between Steve Chapman Drive and Pinecrest Drive. Current zoning is primarily I-2CD, and small portion there in the southwest corner, which is R3. It's within the airport noise overlay. Proposed zoning is a site plan amendment for the portion that's already zoned I-2CD, and then I-2CD for the R3 portion, maintaining the airport noise overlay. The 2040 policy map calls for manufacturing and logistics for the site. And the proposal would add just shy of a half-acre parcel to this previously approved petition, would increase the maximum building square footage to 120,000 square feet, would expand the list of prohibited uses for the site, would allow for phased construction of the principal building with a minimum of 10,000 square feet in the first building phase, maintains the same transportation improvements to the Shopton Road frontage while adding that additional acreage, which would be 5-foot bicycle lane, 3-foot buffer, curb and gutter, 8-foot planting strip, and 6-foot sidewalk. It also would maintain a 100-foot Class A buffer, which could be reduced to 75 feet with a berm, where adjacent to the R3 zoning, as you see in green. Since the public hearing, the petitioner has addressed issues related to transportation and site and building design. There are no outstanding issues, and staff recommends approval, and I'll take any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Does anyone want to suspend the rules so we can talk to Walter?
Otherwise, we really wouldn't want to talk.
Motions?
This is Commissioner Welton. I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2022-137 as it appears before us and adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before us.
Harvey, second.
Properly moved by Walton, seconded by Harvey. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes 7-0. Moving on to number 13, item number 13, rezoning petition 2022-139 by Canvas Residential LLC. Max, join the party.
Glad to be here. Petition 2022-139 is located at the northwest corner of William Ficklin Drive and Ben Craig Drive, west of Mallard Creek Road and east of W.T. Harris Boulevard. The site is approximately 6.94 acres in size and is currently undeveloped. The current zoning is RE1 Research District, a conventional zoning district. The proposed zoning is UR2 CD, Urban Residential, a conditional district. The 2040 policy map recommends the campus place type for this site. It is adjacent to some neighborhood 2 place types to the east, northeast, and west, and additional campus place type to the southeast, south, and west. UR2 CD district is consistent with the current campus place type in this context. The proposal calls for up to 82 single-family attached townhomes at a rate of 12 units per acre, limited to no greater than 6 units per building. Vehicular access to the site is provided via William Ficklin Drive and via a private street extension of Ben Craig Drive. Architectural design standards related to building materials, foundation slabs to match the building paint scheme, requirements for minimum roof pitches, predominant stoops and porches fronting public and private streets, blank wall limitations, direct sidewalk connections to public and private streets, and architectural enhancements to garage doors fronting public and private streets. The site and pedestrian scale lighting, an 8-foot sidewalk and 8-foot planting strip to be put in place along William Ficklin Drive, and there's a maximum building height of 55 feet. There's one outstanding issue related to transportation. CDOT has requested a note specifying terms of right-of-way encroachment agreement to be added to the site plan. The petitioner has agreed to address this outstanding issue in their revised plans, which will be due in the coming week. Staff recommends approval of this petition upon a resolution of the outstanding issue related to transportation. I'm happy to take any questions at this time.
All right, thank you. And was it 8-foot or 6-foot sidewalk?
It's an 8 and 8.
Okay.
They have agreed to.
I believe it said 6 and 8 on the screen, which,
As
long as you're correct.
Sorry, that should have been updated since
No
the
problem.
public hearing. My mistake.
Questions?
Thank you. I appreciate the notes and the on-street parking on private streets, but just a clarification, I don't see any detail for how wide the space is for the private street as you enter from Ficklin Drive, or am I just missing that?
There is a detail for the private street. It's going to be built to the standard residential wide.
That's a 15?
CDOT standard 71 foot right of way.
Okay. But the 71-foot right of way is for everything. I guess I'm just trying to figure out
when it actually comes into the site.
Right, since we have an on-street parking, and I know the issue is about trying to understand how wide those on-street parking spaces are.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're 10 feet on either side, it's 20 feet plus the curb and gutter, now we're lost 24 feet. And if there's 20-foot private drive, we're at 44 feet, 48 feet curb and gutter kind of deal. So I just want to confirm that, if that's possible.
Yeah, so for the residential wide, and maybe Travis Miller with CDOT would be a better resource as far as the details of the standard go. But it's a typical 30-foot gutter to gutter.
30-foot gutter to gutter with?
On-street parking.
On both sides?
No, total 15 foot. So that'd be approximately, that's without the curb and gutter. So the curb and gutter is another, The detail's hard to read. I believe it, standards, 2 foot 6 inch curb and gutter on either side. So that's an additional 5 feet, so 35 feet. So with the parking for the travel lane plus parking plus curb and gutter, you're looking at about, it's about 17.5 feet from center line.
Okay, thanks. Maybe if we can get some updated for the next.
There's a detail included on the site plan and Travis, if you have any additional feedback on that.
Yeah, they're following public street standards. You can go to the Charlotte Land Development Standards. You're at 15 to the curb and gutter where there's on-street parking. And this is at mid-block 9 when there isn't. If you're closer to the intersection, you're looking at 20 feet from curb and gutter to curb and gutter, and that's pavement width. That does not include the pan itself.
Okay, thanks. I've got some research and more work to do on understanding that, but it's just when you come into the facility off of Ficklin, you're about 15 or 20 feet from having cars right there. So I guess I look at that for the private street, trying to understand.
They followed for as far as that on-street parking goes, they followed, and that was commented on that they would need to meet the public standards. So that internal roadway network would be considered a network required roadway, and they're going to follow all public standards on that roadway.
Thanks. My last comment would be that hopefully these changes will be reflected in the revised site plan if that's possible. Thanks.
Are we expecting an additional site plan with the other changes that they were?
Could you provide a little clarification on what you're wanting to see in a revised site plan? The only outstanding issue is the note about a right-of-way encroachment agreement.
Remind me where that is then.
The note about the outstanding issues are found at the end of the staff analysis, but it's just the CDOT has just specified that they add a conditional note, stating that right-of-way encroachment agreement is required for installation of certain items.
Yeah, they come in and.
But if you'd like to see additional, I'm sure the petitioner would like to hear specifics of what you'd like to see.
Yeah, for me, I'd like to see the detail for the private street off of Ficklin Drive.
Yeah, so the detail is included on the site plan. It's kind of small on the bottom right-hand corner, but it's a typical detail from the Charlotte Land Development Standard Manual it's called the residential wide section.
Right. Okay. I feel like I'm in a loop now, so I'll stop. So.
Understood. I know, I also believe we're having some difficulty with our internet on the iPads right now. We're having a hard time.
Yes.
We're not pulling up anything.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Just checking to make sure.
We should feed the hamster before the meeting.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions? I believe was the next thing I was going to say. Any motions?
It's Commissioner Rhodes. I'll make a motion.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2022-139 as it appears before us and the adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before us.
Harvey, second.
Moved by Rhodes and seconded by Harvey. All in favor, say aye. Opposed?
No.
Or 6-1. Russell, go ahead and make.
All right, man. You know what? I really wish I had like some really deep and insightful thing to pull from the UDO as to my opposition from this, but I think this was just one where we're putting residential in the middle of an office park. And so you're just dropping residents in and density in with no regard for quality of life or amenities or anything. So I just don't like the placement of it. That's a personal opinion.
Very well. Max, got that? Thank you. Good deal. All right, moving on to item number 14, rezoning petition 2022-152 by Vinroy Reed. And we're with Emma.
Good evening. So 2022-152 is a little under an acre at 0.87 acres located on the southeast side of Sharmack Lane, north of Monroe Road and east of North Wendover Road. The subject site is denoted with a red star. It is an area developed with a mixture of multifamily residential homes, commercial businesses, and offices. The current zoning is O2 office and R5 single-family residential. The proposed zoning is B2 general business. The 2040 policy map calls for innovation mixed-use place type. This petition is inconsistent with the current place type. Oh, neighborhood center, my bad. Staff does not recommend approval of the petition. This is a conventional rezoning, therefore there is no associated site plan and therefore no outstanding issues with a site plan because we don't have one. I would like to point out that the B2 district is autocentric and has potential uses that could be incompatible with the long-term goal of a neighborhood center. Additionally, a conditional B2 zoning request with limitations on auto-oriented uses and elements of design that promote the goals of the neighborhood center, or a conventional request to the neighborhood center zoning district under the UDO could facilitate an outcome that is better aligned with the recommended neighborhood center place type. If there are any questions, I can take them and do my best to answer them.
Certainly, I'll go to my, Russell, go right ahead.
Full of questions tonight. So I want to get a little bit more clarification on why staff does not recommend approval of this. So it does say you want a limitation on auto-oriented uses, but yet you're off of Monroe Road, which is a very high auto-intense use, as well as Wendover Road. And, you know, further to the north of that is 16. So I guess I'm a little confused or not clear about why we would want to limit auto uses on that site when we have such highly traveled auto intensive roads.
I understand. I have my understanding, and if Dave would like to.
Yeah, I'll jump in.
Okay.
So neighborhood center is really pedestrian kind of focused, not auto-centric place type, mixed uses, neighborhood serving retail, some residential. B2 is traditional commercial development at the back end of Sharmack Lane, adjacent to single family, and everything else just didn't feel like just a conventional B2 with things that could be allowed, like gas stations, other things. And again, I know the applicant doesn't have the intent to do that, but we have to look at all uses that are allowed. So those types of things kind of tucked back in off Sharmack Lane, which really is not a fully functioning, or fully designed out or built out road. It's a bit of a gravel type of road as you get back further on Sharmack Lane. Just didn't seem like the right spot for some of the additional uses that B2 would allow, and also just not consistent with the neighborhood center place type. So that's where we had some of our concerns about it.
Okay, so would a conditional zoning or a completely different zoning to allow what the petitioner wants be more keeping in line with what staff sees for this area?
That was our suggestion. And I believe the petitioner is still working with members of the community and some council members just to kind of talk through what some of the long-term options are. But our preference would be to see some of those uses either restricted, or if they want to maintain a conventional district, go into that neighborhood center district after the UDO comes into effect in June would be something we'd like to see. But, again, the applicant, I think, is working on some potential other solutions, and we may know more after prior to a decision, but that's where kind of staff's desired outcome is.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Douglas, go right ahead.
Question for CDOT. I drove down Sharmack Lane and yeah, it's a collection of potholes, and I'm just I'm being kind. Are there any plans for that? I cannot see this serving the public because it just is not any kind of condition. And I was just curious if the road was planned for any improvements, because, I mean, anything would be an improvement. So if CDOT has the answer to that, then that would be great.
Short answer, no. It's unmaintained road. I'm not quite sure if it's a public alley per se, but it's definitely an unmaintained road. Actually, it's a privately maintained road, so we wouldn't maintain that at all anyway.
And even if we were to find a different zoning designation that would be in alignment, the road would not change, correct? Or would there be an ask from our staff for the road to be brought up to public road standards? And that may be a hypothetical, and if it's so hypothetical you can't answer, then I'm perfectly fine with that. But I mean, it just is not, in its current form, I wouldn't serve anything. No. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Emma.
Yeah, this is obviously a challenge. Anyone else have a question? Comment? Yeah, I would like to see this chunk of property developed. There's no doubt. I'm not sure that this B2 is where I could see it supporting. While we have plenty of opportunities, I think, for auto-oriented development, I don't know that this is ideal. Granted, it's on a busy street. It doesn't even have decent access. I mean, we would have to be assuming the petitioner is taking care of that. And I tend to, I feel supporting staff on this one. Anyone else have? In which case, a motion would be appreciated.
Commissioner Walton, having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to deny this petition, I move that we recommend denial of petition number 2022-152 as it appears before us and adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before us.
Rhodes, second.
Properly moved by Walton, seconded by Rhodes. All in favor of, again, denying this petition, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That's unanimous, 7-0 to deny. Thank you.
Make a comment on
that? Yes, go right ahead.
Having voted as we do, I do encourage the petitioner to continue looking for a way to accomplish what his stated goals are in terms of building community. I just believe that staff has put out there that there's some better ways perhaps to go about doing this, and I hope that this does eventually find its way to light and we get something interesting and cool on a road that we can drive down. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Well stated.
The petitioner runs an excellent restaurant, so we'll just say that. All right. Moving on to item number 15, rezoning petition 2022-153 by Catalyst Investment Partners. Emma. Back to you.
Good evening again. So this is petition 2022-153. It is approximately 0.5 acres located on the north side of Old Hebron Road, west of England Street and east of Nations Ford Road. The portion of the site being rezoned indicated above by the red star. The front of the same parcel is a built industrial building dash structure. This parcel is surrounded by light industrial buildings with open space to the west that is primarily vacant and a pallet recycling plant to the east. To the south of the site where there is a wooded space with a transportation equipment store for truck accessories with a vacant lot neighboring that business. I would like to point out that our GIS team is modifying these maps. The current zoning is I1 and the proposed zoning is I2. What they are intending to rezone is that proportion of the I1 light industrial at the top there. So technically that's like, from my understanding, that is the entire parcel that's outlined in black, but the petitioner is specifically interested in rezoning, so the entire parcel is I2 general industrial. The 2040 policy map calls for manufacturing and logistics. Staff recommends approval of this petition. The petition is consistent with the 2040 policy map recommendation for manufacturing and logistic place types. This is a conventional petition, therefore there is no site plan associated with this petition, and I will take any questions from zoning committee if you have any.
Thank you. Any questions? This was Walter's, not the other one, by the way, meant to. Thank you. Any questions, comments? Go right to motions then.
Lansdale, having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move we recommend the approval of petition number 2022-008 as it appears before us.
I'm sorry, the petition number at the top is incorrect. It's 2022-153.
153, my apologies. I saw
Correct.
that. My notes had it right, but I looked up at the wrong guy.
Yep.
I move that we recommend the approval of petition number 2022-153 as it appears before us and the adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before us as well.
Russell, second.
Probably moved by Dan Lansdale, seconded by Russell. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes 6-0. And we'll move on to item number 16. Rezoning petition 2022-155 by Mungo Homes. Michael.
Thank you. This is approximately 4.2 acres located on the south side of Lakeview Road, west of Reams Road, and east of Beatty's Ford Road. The current zoning is R4 Single Family Residential. The proposed zoning is R12 MFCD, Multifamily Residential Conditional. The 2040 policy map calls for a neighborhood 1 here. Next slide. So this proposal allows up to 41 single-family attached townhome style dwelling units. Access to the site will be from Lakeview Road. It dedicates and fee simple conveys all rights of way along Lakewood View Road to the city. Proposes a potential future street connection to the south of the site. They do commit to streetscape improvements along Lakeview Road to include an 8-foot planting strip and a 12-foot multi-use path. They are providing a 28-foot Class C buffer on the west side of the site that is adjacent to the single-family homes, and they do provide architectural standards, including building materials. Next slide. No changes since the hearing. The petition is inconsistent with the 2040 policy map recommendation for the neighborhood 1 place type. There are no outstanding issues, and staff recommends approval of this petition. Thank you. Be glad to take any questions.
Any questions? Terry, go right ahead.
As I said to folks tonight, my theme is going to be about private alleys and their widths. So it looks like we have a 16-foot private alley without the curb and gutter included. It would be 20 feet with the curb and gutter. I just, again, have concerns with lane widths of usable road space of 8 feet when we have cars built today that are 8.5 feet wide. So again, I just express concerns when I see petitions time and again tonight that to me cause great concern for ingress, egress, and safety on these particular roads. And it looks like, Road A may continue and be city maintained. So again, I just express my transportation concerns over lane width for these types of alleys. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I'll ask Russell's question about the inconsistency. If you need me to restate it, I will, but be more than happy for staff to.
Yeah, well, as you can see, if you go back a few slides to there, yeah, thank you. So the parcel to the south is neighborhood 2. It's currently zoned R22 MF. So this just brings it, that neighborhood 2 back up to Lakewood Road, Trinity Road. There's bus stop access on Trinity Road as well. So, you know, and the density is 12 there. So we felt like it's a good transition, you know, in the context of the surrounding neighborhood that it fits.
Thank you. Also, as I was researching this one, that weird triangle of land, looks like it's just nothing, nobody's. Yeah, exactly. It was and would be very hard to fit a house on there. I'm just putting that out there. Eventually, we will be rezoning that, I imagine, so. All right, any other questions for staff? We can go ahead and do this one then, if anyone has a motion.
Commissioner Rhodes, I'll make a motion.
Right ahead.
Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve the petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2022-155 as it appears before us and the adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before us.
Gaston, second.
Properly moved by Rhodes, seconded by Gaston. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That is 6-0. Passes. Moving on to item number 17. Rezoning petition 2022-158 by Fall Investments LLC. Emma, back to you. Busy night for you.
Yeah. This is petition 2022-158. It is approximately 2 acres located on the south side of West W.T. Harris Boulevard, east of University Executive Park Drive, and west of North Tryon Street. The site indicated above it by the red star is surrounded by commercial businesses such as restaurants, hotels, and banks. There is also a police station south of the site. East of the site is additional retail and food-shopping centers. The current zoning is for O15 CD, office conditional, and the proposed zoning is TOD-CC, Transit-Oriented Development Community Center. The 2040 policy map calls for a community activity center, which is consistent with the current place type. Staff does recommend approval of the petition. This is a conventional rezoning, therefore there is no associated site plan and therefore no outstanding issues.
All right.
I will take any questions if you have any.
Excellent. Rezoning a historic house almost. No, I'm kidding. But been there a long time. That's all I'm saying. Any questions from the commission? Go right ahead.
Mr. Chairman, just a quick confirmation. My notes indicate there is going to be direct access to University Executive Boulevard. I hope my notes are right on this petition.
Not, Dave?
Yeah, it looks like the parcel has connection out. There's a private drive that connects back out to University Executive Park Drive.
Thanks. No other issues there. Thank you.
Just in case you need to turn left.
Right. It's always been weird. It's always been weird. At a meeting there once. Yes, that road exists. Any motions then from the committee?
This is Commissioner Wells, and I'll make a motion. Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2022-158 as it appears before us and adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before us.
Gaston, second.
Thank you. Moved by Welton, seconded by Gaston. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is back to 7-0. Passed. And I'm moving on to item number, the final night item.
We're gonna get out of here on time?
If I get a chance to say this. Item number 18, rezoning petition 2022-215 by Sherwood Development Group. Michael.
Yes, thank you. This is approximately 8.65 acres located on the west side of Twin Lakes Parkway, east side of Statesville Road, and north side of Interstate 485, south of Alexandriana Road. The current zoning is BP Business Park. The proposed zoning is I1CD Light Industrial Conditional. The 2040 policy map calls for manufacturing and logistics. On this proposal, it allows a development of up to 65,000 square feet gross floor area of auto sales, auto repair, and office uses. They limit the total number of principal buildings to a maximum of 3 buildings. Allows for the existing building on the site to remain, be expanded, and/or new buildings may be constructed on the site. They are providing an 8-foot planting strip and a 6-foot sidewalk along the site's frontage on Twin Lakes Parkway. No changes since the public hearing. The petition is consistent with the 2040 policy map recommendation for manufacturing and logistics. There were no outstanding issues, and staff recommends approval of this petition. Be glad to take any questions.
Any questions? Anybody want to ask Michael anything? Anyone? No? Motions?
Commissioner Rhodes, I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
Having reviewed the petition and considered the consistency statement prepared by staff to approve this petition, I move that we recommend approval of petition number 2022-215 as it appears before us, and the adoption of the consistency statement as it appears before us.
Harvey, second.
Properly moved by Rhodes, seconded by Harvey. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is passes 7-0. Excellent. Thank you, guys. Finally eking this one out under 2 hours. Do we have anything else? I know usually Dave, if he has something that he wants to make sure we address, he says it. Does anyone on staff know? All right.
Did you guys go and make them all consistent just to keep me quiet tonight? Thank you.
All right. Motion to adjourn. Anyone? Second. Okay. I think we have a session.